Hi, I have so much that I want to talk about today and share, and I hope I'm going to remember it all without having to start another chat. so, um, First things first, I've been feeling really, really, really strange the last couple of days. Like, really, I've had this before in a wave, but I've been feeling this, what's the point anymore? And, kind of what have I done with my life up to this point? And it's like, how you have like your soul, when people say they die and then they get shown flashbacks of everything they've done in their life and how they've affected. It's kind of like I've had that. I've had it in parts before in the past, but I've had it really heavily the last few days where I'm kind of being shown how I've affected people's lives, how people have affected mine, how I've said things that have hurt people and not been able to see the other side. Exactly how people say you have your experience when you die and you're shown how well you did with your lessons, XYZ. I've been feeling a lot of compassion for people that maybe I had anger towards, not anger, but wasn't able to understand where they were coming from. And a lot of stuff coming up for review and a lot of regrets and like, oh, I can't believe I did that, or in hindsight I didn't really. You can't know what you didn't know back then, and it wasn't really anything but me walking through my journey. But the way it's coming up in my mind has very much been a case of, like, why did I do that? Why did I allow that? Why did I do that to that person? Why didn't I push my career at XYZ? And just lots of things like that have been coming up for me big time over the last few days. My energy's been really bad over the past few days as well. I mean, I don't want to say bad, I don't want to judge it in any way, but it's been very much, kind of like, oh, what's the point? I actually feel like I'm kind of dying in form. And I feel like what's happened is that because I've become aware of so much of my ego, and I've started to really see through all the veils, it's like I can't really pacify myself anymore. So even enjoyable food can't really pacify me. And I've had this in waves before as well, where I don't feel like anything fulfills me anymore. And I've gone into this even heavier now, of like realizing that anything that used to fulfill me doesn't. So I'm really, really just having to sit with myself and find all of it right, here, without all the veils and the concepts. And I can see through the concepts so much more now as well. Like when I walk past somebody, I can see, how maybe in the past I would have been drawn to that person, and now I can see that, all the concepts that would have drawn me to like go there. And yeah, so because I can see through the concepts, I'm not able to get enjoyment and fulfillment from anything that's kind of like pacifying myself. So I'm just having to be with myself. And it's I've been like sitting alone for years and years. I work by myself, I live alone, I'm happy to sit alone and be alone, but I was still pacifying myself in so many ways. I think we don't realise the extent that we pacify ourselves sometimes, like that we even can eat something or go out for a coffee or go and do this. And it's not that any of these things are wrong per se, but it's the intention. It's like always asking yourself constantly, like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And trying to see through, like, constantly questioning yourself and going through the veils. And I've been doing this recently. So it's been kind of taken away so many more of the veils to allow me to see clearly. And yeah, it feels like a really not nice place to be at the moment. It just feels very like nothingness. I can't seem to find the enthusiasm for anything. And I know it's a phase and it will move past, but it's like I've just lost enthusiasm for everything really in my current life, and even the drawing or the art or things that I was throwing myself into like a month or two ago. I now realize that even that isn't kind of fulfilling or sustaining me. It's like I'm having to go so deep now to find that real kind of sustenance within self. And that's not just being alone. Being alone is one thing, being able to really be with yourself, that's another, because we can do all kinds of things when we're alone at home, and it doesn't really mean very much until you can really, really sit with yourself and just be with yourself. So that's something that's been coming up really heavy for me. But I've had a lot of stuff come up, of seeing how I've done things, seeing the mistakes that I've made, the things that I could have done differently. It is like a whole lifetime review. I feel like I'm dying, to be honest with you. I feel like I'm dying while in form, and I'm having my like full ego death right now. Um, and I'm just not able to kind of be fulfilled externally in any way. And like I said, you have to get really real with yourself, because some of those things are so little, or they seem so little, but they're still kind of fulfilling you externally. Um, I don't really know what to do with my life. Like, I feel like everything that I did has kind of come crashing down a bit lately, and it's kind of all blocked paths. And I feel like I'm sort of doing this turn in direction right now. Um, but I've not quite seen how it's gonna switch, and I don't quite have all the answers clearly there in front of me. But I know things are gonna change, and yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. What else did I have to say? Hopefully, I wrote it down. I always do these just like ad hoc, but yeah, I do. I just feel like I'm having this extreme death of self. I feel like that's what I was going to, yeah, I don't even feel like I know myself. I woke up like 2 days ago. I've been having really, really extreme dreams lately. And I think I said as well that I was trying to call any fragments that I might have of my soul back as well. And so we could be one and move forward into union. And I've been having the strangest dreams of like different timelines. They're not dreams. They're like I'm out there on, working on different timelines, working on different realities, and it's almost like I'm kind of bringing these all back to this one. And now I'm just dying, and it's like, then the rebirth will happen. But I'm in that process of kind of dying right now. So, the rebirth hopefully will happen after this. Um, because it's that real. I woke up in the mornings and I felt like a stranger in my own house. But it's like I knew I lived here and I knew how to do things, but it just didn't feel like my life. I was like, it felt like literally somebody had dumped me into this life and said, yeah, go forth. I'm like, well, I don't know what to do because I don't understand this life or what it is, but I still have all the same kind of friends and contacts and family and living accommodation. But it was very much like somebody just dumped me in here and I have no concept of like who I am anymore or what life I'm living. It's just like a really, really weird mental space to be in. I still look the same. I think I still am the same, but it is like I either called back parts of myself or I've had some kind of soul walking or something, because I just don't feel like this is my life. I know certain things have happened, but even my memories have been changing, and my, things that I know from the past have been changing. So it just really is like a complete death. And I don't know if anybody else, I do have a friend going through the same thing at the moment on the same journey. So I don't know if anybody else in this situation, but it does feel like everything's kind of blocked as well. And like certain avenues and courses and that aren't right, I'm just not allowed to go down them, and everything's coming up for reevaluation. So it's a really, really strange time at the moment, and yeah, it's not really a very kind of nice feeling place to be, but I'm just trying to sit with it and go with it and know that it's all working for the higher good. Everything's so silent, silent, correct, connection wise, work wise, like, and I get a bit, when I get into those zones, rather than feel more motivated, I feel like, oh, but I'm really trying to kind of push forwards, and at the same time as just being and allowing and embracing and accepting everything for what it is right now. So yeah, that's how I am, and I hope everyone else is okay. And I don't know if anyone else is going through this as well, but it does really feel like, the death. But that is what has to happen. We have to die. Our ego has to completely die, or we have to almost die to ourselves and allow ourselves to be reborn. And it seems like this is going to happen in form rather than through the normal processes that people go through. So, let's see what comes next.